Well, hey, I'm back. Hey, friends, Mandy here as your host, and y'all, I just am so pumped and so excited to say welcome back to the Change Chasers podcast. Welcome to season 2. Here we go. If this is your first episode, though, I'm going to say welcome for the first time, and I am so glad that you are here. And if you've been with me since season 1, then I'm going to say, welcome home, sweet friends, and let's keep chasing change together, right? I want to say that I honestly cannot believe that it has been several months since I have last sat behind this microphone. Life has a funny way of pulling us into seasons that require more listening than speaking sometimes, and even more growing than producing. Or, as I've been learning, more becoming than broadcasting. So, sweet friends, one of our last episodes, I know if you were a season 1 listener, maybe you remember it. It was called Linger Longer. And we talked about incorporating rest. So, in my time of lingering longer, I have had the sweetest time with the Lord of slowing my roll, as I like to say, every chance that I've gotten. I've been blessed to spend some time in nature and just listen to the birds and see God's beautiful creation. And that's just been a gift for me instead of the hustle and the bustle and the everyday constant grind. I've had several of those days, of course, as we all do. I just have been really grateful to practice what that episode even taught me in the preparation and even in sharing what God taught me, so then I could speak into a microphone and hopefully it came through your earbuds, your speakerphone, or however you listen. I think there's a few folks that listen even online on your computers. That's pretty rad and pretty cool. But y'all, when I spoke about lingering longer, and then the last episode of Closing Tabs, I will honestly say I'm sorry. I didn't mean to linger quite so long and close the tab for so long, but it's been a gift to get back into preparing some content for you. I've been working hard to prepare before the hustle and the bustle all starts back with sports ministry stuff that I am pumped and excited to share with you guys that it has meant so much to me, yes, in this season of preparation, but also season of slowing my roll and hearing from the Lord. I want to say that y'all have been so kind. Thank you so much for numerous people who have been so gracious to reach out to me and say, hey, we are missing you behind that microphone. And one friend told me not too long ago, I really miss my motivational Mandy messages. And I thought, that's like a hug to my heart. And so it just means so much when those of you are kind enough to say, hey, we miss you. We hope you'll get back at it. I was really enjoying your podcast. And so with that said, that's one of the reasons that I am making margin to figure out how to continue to juggle all the things, because what a gift it is to know that so many people actually care about what I have to say. And so, whereas that kind of comes from a shock as I look at the analytics, and some of you sweet friends are from all across the world, which is just absolutely so wild to me. Regardless, I'm grateful. Wherever you're listening from, thank you so much for the gift of your time, and thank you for being willing to continue to chase change together with me. I want you to know that God has been so good to me during this break. I've been so warmly reminded, and I think that maybe there's some other folks that will be listening as well, that maybe this is exactly what you might need to hear just the same. But that just because something has been quiet doesn't mean that God has stopped working. Sometimes He's doing His deepest work underground before anyone ever sees about really what's coming next or what's about to bloom. That's actually the heartbeat, sweet friends, behind the theme of season 2. all of our episodes have been created with content creation that I'm hoping it all builds on one episode to another, so that if you listen, then you liked it, hopefully, that the next week when you come back, it'll just continue to help you to be able to grow in the idea of figuring out how are we being about becoming. And so, thinking about being a change chaser, I think we would all agree that we all are united in the belief that faith isn't meant to stay comfortable. Or as our Change Chaser podcast mantra is, faith in action, change in motion. So, with that sweet reminder, y'all, I am super mega pumped to speak into your life every week with my goal of dropping a new episode every Tuesday. And in season 2, I want you to know that you will be faithfully reminded that faith moves, faith grows, faith changes us from the inside out. And this season isn't necessarily about having all the answers either. It's about becoming the person that God created you to be. So over the next several months, we're going to chase growth together. We'll be talking about believing bigger than your fears. We'll discover why sometimes we're a lot more like dandelions than roses, and why it's actually a beautiful and dandy as a dandelion kind of thing. We'll wrestle with the truth that your past doesn't change, but the meaning that you assign to it can. We'll explore the 7 primal questions that quietly shape our relationships, leadership, faith, and everyday decisions. We'll learn why the loudest applause you'll ever need isn't from a crowd. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you've been faithful. We'll talk about planning well, living with purpose, finding hope through ordinary heroes, and trusting God's timing even when life feels more like a slow cooker, or here in the South, we call them crockpots. Y'all, when life feels more slow of a pace than we desire, than that of that rapid cooking things out and producing as fast as a microwave result. Y'all, we'll be learning what it really means to let go and let God. And if there's one thing that I truly do hope that you, sweet friends, and I myself will carry with us throughout this entire season, it's that God isn't finished writing your story. So no matter where you've been, no matter what chapter you're currently living in, no matter how many times you've had to begin again, there is still purpose ahead. And sometimes we think that change starts with one giant decision. But for me, I've learned more often than not that change begins with one faithful next step. One conversation, one surrendered prayer, one act of obedience, one ordinary day that God transforms into something extraordinary. That's why this podcast is called Change Chasers. Because change isn't something that we wait on. It's something that we pursue as Christians. As I am a believer, I believe that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us, as His Word says. So if we pursue everything with Jesus and allow Him to be who is leading every step of the way, He will, because He's faithful, but only if we let Him. Sweet friends, whether you like to listen while driving to work, walking through your neighborhood, working out, or sitting with a cup of coffee, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for giving me a few minutes of your day, a few minutes of your life. It is my sweetest prayer and desire that every episode points you toward Jesus, challenges your thinking, encourages your heart, and reminds you that you are capable of so much more than you may even realize. Not because of who you are, but because of whose you are. Sweet friends, season 2, it is going to stretch us. It's going to challenge us, but I also trust with everything to the depths of my soul. It is going to inspire us. And I truly believe it's going to change us if we let it. If we're willing to put action into our life and foot to pavement, so to speak, and do the work, do what we can do, right? I think so often in life we get stuck in the muck in the middle of our mess thinking about what we can't do as opposed to focusing on what we can do or what we do have or what talents and gifts and treasures that we can use to help our fellow man to be able to be on divine assignment and to do great things, to make every day count. And so, we're going to be all about those things this season. I want to encourage you. Would you please invite a friend? And then if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so that you do not miss an episode because y'all, we're just getting started. Season 2 is here, sweet friends. Let's keep chasing the kind of change that lasts for eternity. Or, as I like to say at the end of every episode, y'all, let's keep chasing change and living with purpose. Goodbye, sweet friends.